Welcome to ACE Alpha Competency Enrichment. I'm not going to disclose the topic which I'll be discussing today. I'll be showing you a list of slides. I want you all to guess before I give introduction to the topic. Let me show you the slide. If you look at this particular slide, you have a stone mixer, and today we have a modern mixer in different brands. Let's look at this picture. Those days, like my mother used to grind rice flour or any batter for making a desserts using this stone grinder. Today you have a modern wet grinder. Those days, like people used to use cows, and they used to prepare cold pressed oil. It could be groundnut oil or a coconut oil, or it could be of any oil. Today one can buy a machine which can be fitted in your kitchen at a very smaller space required, and you can able to generate the same oil which people used to make using cold press technique. Let us look at this picture. Those days, my grandpa, even during my childhood times, I used to use this neem stem for brushing my teeth. So the neem stem itself is considered as a brush. Today, if you look at, there are brands like Oral-B, they sell neem toothbrush. I'm not talking about a neem toothpaste. They also sell neem toothbrush. Let us look at this picture. Those days, people have invented cycle by using wood. Today, copying that tradition, people have come out with wooden bicycle with latest modifications into the cycle. Let us look at this picture. Those days, my grandpa and grandma used to have this overnight soaked rice. In Tamil, they used to call this palayo soru. In other places, I really do not know. So if you look at the concept, what used to be followed by my grandpa or grandma or your grandma and grandma, today if you go in the US, they are selling that as morning rice. Just imagine how the tradition which was followed right from the mixer, wet grinder, or it could be for this leftover rice, how people are reviving the tradition, and then they are coming up with their latest product. If you are able to guess the topic of today's is, it's fine. If not, let me orient you to the concept. The topic of today's is traditional knowledge revival. It is very, very essential for us. Irrespective of whatever the discipline you may be studying at Garden City University, you need to have knowledge on traditional knowledge revival, because our future is going to be based on our traditional knowledge. It's not just going to be about technology. It's not just going to be about modern equipments. We also have to know how our traditional knowledge needs to be revived, so that we are able to continue the knowledge which has traveled from one generation to another generation. We'll able to continue with the skills which has traveled from one generation to another generation. We'll able to carry out the practices which travel from one generation to another generation, so that we do not lose the valuable inventions or the knowledge or the skill or the practices which has been invented by our ancestors. What's in it for you? You will be able to understand the concept of a traditional knowledge. You know the techniques to review the traditional knowledge, and the learning objective will be you will be able to get an orientation on traditional knowledge and the techniques to revive the traditional knowledge. What is meant by traditional knowledge? It is very important for us at this stage. We need to understand what is meant by traditional knowledge to understand this particular is. So what is meant by tradition? Tradition is something which is existing in or as a part of tradition long established. If you look at the picture what I have given in this particular slide, those days the ancestors used to have their meal only by using banana leaves. Today you have different plates. You got steel plates, you got ceramic plates, you got plastic plates. Imagine how this tradition has been continued from one generation to another generation. Of course, even today we used to use banana leaves only for occasional reasons. So anything which has been continued from one generation to another generation, or which is long established, can be considered as a tradition. So the example which I have given is eating in banana leaf. What is meant by knowledge? Knowledge is defined as facts, information, skills acquired through experience or education, the theoretical or practical understanding of a subject. Do you know there is a reason behind why people eat on banana leaf? Banana leaf contains a lot of polyphenols, a characteristics cancer preventing agent found in many plant-based foods. When you take in banana leaf, the polyphenols tends to be in higher in content. The banana leaf additionally imparts smell to your food and improves the taste. This is considered as a knowledge. What our ancestors found as a style of eating the meal on banana leaf as a knowledge behind it. The knowledge here, which I have explained, is banana leaves has got a lot of polyphenols, which helps you to prevent cancer, and also it enhances the flavor or the smell of the dish and also improves the taste. So this can be considered as a knowledge. Let me talk about what's meant by revival. Revival is an improvement in the condition, strength or fortunes of someone or something. For example, the first slide I've shown you about are people eating food on banana leaf. If you look at this picture which I have given in the slide, supermarkets uses banana leaf as a biodegradable packing material. So they can store anything they want, and there are inventions which people have come out with banana leaves. They have dried the banana leaf and they have come out with various plates, tumblers or any kind of bowls. And uniquely, if you look at the last picture, ice cream served in banana leaf with bamboo spoon. Just look at how the tradition of eating the meal on banana leaf has been transformed by using the traditional knowledge revival. Today, people have understood, yes, our ancestors have found something and they have invented something. They have tried to ask us to follow it, and people have understood the importance of following the tradition from one generation to another generation. Imagine if the companies are not going to utilize banana leaves for storing their food materials in supermarket, or if they are not going to use banana leaf for serving an ice cream. Just imagine the amount of plastic or any other substitute materials which may be used for serving this. So traditional knowledge revival is nothing but what was longly established, and what as a particular knowledge, it could be revived by introducing innovation in the way how it can be done. Why is it important to revive traditional knowledge? So before I explain you about the techniques how to revive the traditional knowledge, it is important for me to update you what is it important for to reviving the traditional knowledge. One main important reason is traditional knowledge or tried, tested and recommended. See, nowadays the concept of intermittent fasting is there across the globe. Those days ancestors have clearly mentioned that we are supposed to go on fasting on a particular month for so many days, for so many hours. So what was tried and tested and recommended by ancestors, we have lost somewhere down the line. Today people are going back to this intermittent fasting. So they feed for 8 hours and 16 hours they used to be in the fasting, which helps us to enhance the way our health is. It helps us to have a lot of positive aspects to our body. So traditional knowledge is tried, tested and recommended. You need not need further innovation. If you are able to do an innovation, it's well and good. If not, you can simply just follow the tried, tested and recommended practices of any traditional knowledge. Traditional knowledge has a lot of values. Just imagine those days every house used to have a tulsi plant. There is a reason behind it. There is a science behind it. Why do we worship the tulsi plant? So traditional knowledge has got value. Number third reason is traditional knowledge helps to pass on history from one generation to another generation. Just imagine what was followed in my grandparents' generation, in your grandparents' generation. If your mother and father or my mother and father, if they have not taught us, definitely we will not be in a position to take those knowledge to our future generation. So it's very important for us in every generation we are supposed to pass down the history and the knowledge so that the people can able to continue the traditional practices which was followed, which was invented by ancestors, so that we can able to lead a healthy life which was tried and tested and recommended by our ancestors. It's also important for us to protect the traditional knowledge from biopiracy. When I talk about biopiracy is a situation where indigenous knowledge of a nature originating with indigenous people is used others for profit without the permission from and with little or no compensation or recognition to the indigenous people themselves. For example, of biopiracy, I want to bring it to your notification. Ashwagandha was patented in US by Vittel US for a skin disorder. A company in Europe had patented an Indian creeping plant called as Brahmi for a memory enhancer. India wins battle with USA over turmeric patent. These are some of our native plants. These are some of our native usages. The international bodies are trying to capture this, and they are trying to claim right for it, and they are trying to generate profit out of it. So it is very essential, you and me as Indians, we need to know which is found by our ancestors, and we need to find ways to protect our invention of our ancestors from biopiracy. So traditional knowledge revel is also important to ensure that we protect all the traditional inventions from biopiracy. Traditional knowledges are considered to be having good health benefits. It has got a lot of economic benefits. For example, instead of using a plastic, or instead of using ceramic or even steel, if you are using banana leaf, it has got a lot of economic benefits. The moment you consume the food which is done in the banana leaf will go back to the cow, and the cow consumes it and it produces milk. So just imagine the economic benefit happens in this particular life cycle. And traditional knowledge also considered to be very authentic, and it is also has got a lot of originality. Let us see some of the most important reasons for traditional knowledge revival. I will explain to you all how the traditional knowledge importance is required in terms of reviving is concerned. I want to bring in some of the most important reasons for traditional knowledge revival. Those days people used banana leaves. Today we have different types of plates. Right, from plastic plates, paper plates, steel plates, ceramic plates. Have you ever wondered, this banana leaf, if it is used, it goes to the cows, and cows eats it and it produces milk. But imagine today's cow, which is on the cities, tends to eat plastic which is dumped in the dump yard. So unnecessarily we are trying to accumulate the waste which is leading to pollution. Definitely it is going to cause a lot of health related disorder for us in the longer run. Just look at this slide. People used to think idli is one of the greatest breakfast, and it is considered to be the world's best breakfast. But due to the advertisement, for example, if you take cornflakes, people are moving from idli to cornflakes. If you look at our ancestors have found fermented rice which is steamed, it's going to be an excellent for our health. It has got all the vitamins, it has got all the minerals which is required, it has got all the things which is required for fulfilling our health. But we are moving from having the world best breakfast to cornflakes just because everyone is consuming it, just because like a foreigner is consuming it, just because it is widely advertised. So it's very important for us to go back to our grassroots, try to follow the tradition what has been followed. Let us look at this particular picture. Those days, people used to have only our native breed of dogs. The dog which I have shown here is Rajapalayam dog. Nowadays, people are going for a bulldog. They are spending more than 3 lakhs, 5 lakh rupees. And if you look at the maintenance cost of this bulldogs tends to be very, very higher. So what is the necessity for us to go for including something which is very strange, which is not fitting into our environment, which is not fitting into our culture? When you look at this Rajapalayam dog, you require a very low maintenance. It can have the food what you're normally having it, whereas the bulldog, it requires special food, it requires special medical assistance, it requires special way of treating it. So just imagine how people have transformed themselves from not following the traditional knowledge which has been invented by our ancestors. Let us look at this picture. Those days, even during my childhood time, I'm sure all of you would have used this soap nut powder. Today, people have come out with the different types of shampoos. Apart from shampoos being synthetic in nature, just imagine the amount of waste which are being segregated because of these shampoo bottles. Have you ever wondered why did we switch from using soap nut powder to shampoo bottles, it is merely because of advertisement. It is merely because we want to show off to the world that we are very trendy. But actually, if I ask you, is it good for your health? It is good for your hair. Definitely, I would say it's not going to be good at all. So it's, instead of going back from soap nut oil to shampoos, probably we have to come out with some innovation wherein we are using the soap nut in the best possible way, so that we can able to arrive at the health benefits which is required. Also, we can able to minimize the environmental pollution. Let us look at these pictures. Those days, as I mentioned in the previous slide, people used to use only the neem leaves. Today, the online retailer like Amazon or Flipkart, if you go and type, you can able to buy this neem leaves. Those days, people used to have neem tree next to their house, and every day morning they used to go next to the neem tree and they try to inhale the good oxygen which is produced by the tree, and they used to pluck the stem from the neem tree, and then they brush, and then it gets over. But look at today, you have different color of toothpaste, different brands of toothpaste, different flavor of toothpaste. Have you ever read the ingredients which are used for preparing the modern toothpaste? The moment you read, and you will definitely will not be using it again. Today, I have recently started using only cloves for brushing my teeth, and the results have been really fantastic. I do not have any kind of tooth problems. So just imagine how things have transformed from using neem stem for brushing the teeth to variety of toothpastes. So we have tried to ignore all the tradition what was tried, tested and recommended, and we have gone to modernization. What has happened because of that? We have started getting into a lot of health related complications. We started getting into creating a lot of soil pollution, air pollution, water pollution. In fact, there are a lot of adulteration between the rices. For example, real rice and the fake rice. And poverty also has been increased. It is because we moved from our tradition to the modernization. Simply because there is an advertisement, simply because we look at the foreigners and they try to move from our traditional lifestyle to a modern lifestyle. So in this juncture, it's very important for us, each one of us, you and me, have to know how this traditional knowledge can be revived, so that we'll be in a position to continue the tradition what has been invented by our ancestors, so that we'll be able to lead a healthy life. What comprises of traditional knowledge? It's very important for you to know what comprises of traditional knowledge. So what I have done is I have listed it as many as possible, but whatever was there in our ancestral age can be considered as a traditional knowledge. Let us look at the definition of traditional knowledge. Traditional knowledge refers to knowledge, innovations, practices of indigenous and local communities around the world, thus developed from experience gained over the centuries and adopted to the local culture and the environment. I hope you are able to understand this definition very well. Traditional foods, it's one of the components of traditional knowledge. For example, if you take Mysore Pak, it's an Indian sweet prepared in ghee. It is originated in the city of Mysore, one of the most major cities in the Indian state of Karnataka. It is made of generous amount of ghee, sugar, gram flour, and often cardamom. The texture of this sweet is similar to buttery and dense cookie. So this is a tradition knowledge, traditional food. You will have a number of food. I have taken an example of Mysore Pak. So it's very important for us, as per the tradition, how the Mysore Pak has to be prepared by using the flour, sugar, as well as ghee. And we need to continue this tradition for the years to come, so that our future generation can able to enjoy the best original authentic Mysore Pak. Let us look at this particular slide. It's traditional beverage. I'm sure all of you would know about Ampana. So today, if you look at a lot of fast-moving consumer goods, the food processing industries have come out with capturing this concept, and they are trying to pack the Ampana and they are selling it. So this particular beverage can be prepared at home itself. So traditional knowledge also includes traditional beverage. Look at this particular picture. There are a lot of traditional plants which are there, but due to the modernization, due to the genetic modification of the plants, we are trying to move away from destroying the traditional plants which used to be there in our life. Let us look at this picture. Those days we used to have a traditional cow. which provides us a milk and which is considered to be extremely good for the health. And we had a lot of indigenous dogs of India, which includes Bullikutta and Rajapalayam. So we are not trying to focus on retaining these traditional animals, which used to be good for our lifestyle, which used to be good for our environment, and things are going out of the way. So traditional knowledge also includes traditional animals. Let us look at this picture. This talks about traditional fabrics. Traditional fabrics also comes under part of the traditional knowledge. For every state of India, there is a traditional fabric. So instead of buying a foreign apparel which is not fitting with our culture, why don't we promote the handicraft makers or artisans who are living in our states by using the traditional fabrics. Traditional knowledge also includes traditional treatments, which include Siddha, Ayurveda, Unani, Yoga, and so on. Traditional knowledge also includes traditional language. It's very important for us. It's okay, you can learn English, but it does not mean that we have to forget our traditional knowledge. It's very, very important. All the traditional knowledge shows our identity, and it's very important for us to protect this traditional language so that our future generation all can able to speak very fluently. Traditional music. There are different traditional instruments are available wherein you can able to come out with an unique music. So the traditional knowledge also includes traditional music, traditional dance, right from Bharatanatyam, Kuchipudi, Kathak. There are a lot of traditional dances there. This also comes under traditional knowledge. Traditional medicines and treatments, which I have explained you before, which include Siddha, Ayurveda, naturopathy, yoga, Unani, and homeopathy. So instead of going for an allopathy treatment, if you are going for a traditional medicine and treatments, it may be taking a longer time for you to cure your disease or a disorder, but it is considered to be extremely good. It is because we have been brought up in such a way that we are able to live closer to the nature. The moment when you are going for an allopathy medicine, our body may not able to recognize. But if you look at the medicine which is prepared by using a Siddha technique, those are basically made of herbs, spices, the food we normally consume. So our body acceptance towards this traditional medicine as well as treatments tends to be higher. Let us look at the traditional way of living. Those days, like people used to live in villages, they used to have a lot of plants, they used to have a lot of pet animals, they used to breathe good air, good water, no pollution at all. So traditional knowledge also includes the traditional way of living. So having explained to you about what is meant by traditional knowledge, what contributes to traditional knowledge, it is important for me to tell you how you can able to revive traditional knowledge. Number one is you can conduct surveys. You can conduct survey among people. So it could be from your grandparents or parents or anyone who have got historic knowledge. You conduct a survey and try to identify the things which were disappeared in the past and try to bring it back. So when you conduct the survey, you will able to bring back the lost traditional knowledge. Conduct secondary data analysis is one of the excellent way of doing it. Probably you can read newspaper, or you can read magazines, or you can read a lot of books, or even you can go for online journals. You can go for statistics like a census data, or you can refer to the marketing research reports. This secondary data helps you to understand how things were evolved, how things were disappeared, and what needs to be done in order to bring it back. So this provides an excellent way to review the traditional knowledge. Talk to your grandparents. Whenever I used to go to my hometown, I used to talk to my grandparents. I used to ask them how they used to be living during their times and how things have changed. So the best way to revive the traditional knowledge is talking to your grandparents. Visit rural villages. Even in the interior parts of India, the traditional knowledge what we are talking about is still being followed. So whenever you get an opportunity, please try to visit the rural villages, try to stay with them, try to observe how they are living in. There must be some sort of scientific evidence for each and everything what is being followed in the rural villages. Watch documentary. It's one of the exciting thing which I do it. Whenever I get time, I used to go back and watch the documentaries which was done some 50 years ago, 60 years ago. I try to understand how things have changed from over the period of time. So watching the documentary is one of the excellent way how you can able to revive the traditional knowledge. Having explained to you about the traditional knowledge revival, now I want to ask you a question. If you are watching this presentation, what will be your next action, what will be a contribution towards reviving the traditional knowledge, so that you and me can join hands together and revive the traditional knowledge of India, so that we can able to lead a healthy and a happy and a successful life. Instructions: go through the materials given in the MSFA, watch the videos carefully right from the beginning till the end, think carefully before selecting the options in the MCQs. Total 10 questions, each question carries 2.5 marks. A minimum of 20 marks is required to clear this e-session. The assessment can be taken only once. The assessment is time bound, hence complete this assessment soon after the instruction session. Happy learning, have a great day and stay safe. I'm Dr. Sudhakar signing off. Until I see you in the next days, have a great time. Thank you.